Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Two Halves podcast. Today, I'm going to be reacting. Well, it's just me here today. I'm going to be reacting to the Chelsea 2, West Brom 5 game. So, before we get into it, I just want to talk about. West Brom before I go into Chelsea. Usually, when you talk about West Brom, when you talk about Sam Allardyce, you talk about football being played in a specific way. You talk about two lines of four and two forwards, which is, it wasn't exactly the way they set up, but you did see the elements to that. But without the ball, you expect 10 men to be defending the whole time. And we didn't see that today. We didn't see that at all. And that's a credit to them, They shocked all of us, I think, with the approach they had. They played a 4-1-4-1, especially with Chelsea when they were on the ball. The front five, so the striker and then the four midfielders, you would see them bomb forward, press Jorginho, press Kovacic, press the back three, not leaving a lot of space. And, that's fair play to them. No one expected it, no one predicted it, and they did that, and it was very successful as the result shows. So credit goes to them there. Now let's get into the game. The game begins. Chelsea with the usual 3-4-3. Today, Rudiger doesn't start. Instead, we see Kurt Zuma on the left-hand side of the back three, and everything else is the way you'd expect it. Conte's not playing because he's out injured for 2 weeks, probably going to miss both the Porto games for the Champions League as well. Big loss. So we knew that Kovacic and Jorginho were going to start today. What we did not know was that Kovacic and Jorginho were going to start today. Time and time again today, from the first minute, you would see Jorginho. I'm a huge fan of the guy. I stood by him this whole time, especially under Sarri, for example, when he was getting a lot of boos. I think he's a quality player. He's been a tremendous player for us in the past over the previous 2 seasons. I think he's got a lot of quality. There's a certain reason, Pep Guardiola wanted him at City, and we beat him to it. But today, that was horrific. Watford away under Conte in the second season, Bakayoko performance is highlighted for that absolute monstrosity that it was, the disaster class. And let me tell you, Jorginho today was worse. You would see this guy miss hit 3-4 yard passes, never mind long ones. I can't even count on both my hands the number of times he put the ball out for a throw and trying to play a simple 10-yard pass. He was giving the ball away. Not just him. We'll get into the others, but from the first minute, West Brom, I did say that they were playing attacking, and that is credit to them. They were pressing very high. But this guy is known to be able to beat the press through his passing, through his movement. He sucks players in, and then he just moves the ball around until the other team just can't reach the ball, and then the forward players actually go do their thing, and he's very good at it. But today we did not see that. We saw him lose the ball a lot of times, and from the very first minute, the pressure was on. After a while, Chelsea did come back into it, as you'd expect, 75% possession or something like that, having the ball, creating chances. We saw Chelsea get the lead through, who scored the first goal? Pulisic. Yes, it was the Marcus Alonso free kick. A good save from the keeper, saved it onto the post, but the rebound, Pulisic, nobody really catches him, and he tucks it in easy into an open net, 1-0. You go 1-0 ahead, and you think that's it, game over today, because that's the way it's been under Tuchel. And you know what? That's the way, for the first time, it has been since 2014-15 under Mourinho, where you'd go ahead under a manager and you'd think, right, we can see this off. You feel confident. We didn't get that under anyone else. We didn't get that under, Conte as well. Even in the title-winning season, a lot of time we were on edge. Under Sarri, we didn't see that. Under Lampard, there was definitely none of that. If you'd get the lead, you'd still be shaking. But under Tuchel, for the first 10, 11 games he's been here, we've been so solid defensively, and you'd think, that's it, the job's done. A few minutes later, Thiago Silva gets sent off. First of all, the first yellow card he got, It was covering for someone's mistake, probably. Again, it was one of those that, is that even a foul? But okay, if it is, yellow card's understandable. But the second one, the guy is going for a shot. I think it was Diane, and he just goes in for a block. He jumps out to block, and the shot's gone like 30 meters away from goal or something, nowhere near Mendy or to trouble any of the Chelsea fans or players or anything. And David Coote, the guy who's known for a lot of bad decisions, especially on VAR duty, but even as a referee, once again showing why English referees are not regarded as top class referees all over the world. The reason why English referees weren't invited to the World Cup 2018, because they're simply not good enough. And today we saw that the decision to send off Thiago Silva was ridiculous in that situation. To even consider that as a foul, I don't think even a single West Brom player appealed for it to be a foul. The guy who actually got fouled was just screaming because, Thiago Silva did get a bit of him, but there was no intent to get him the man. There was no tackle. There was no push. It was just simply him reaching out to block. Anyways, that happened, and the game's completely changed. West Brom, who were already pressing high with the likes of, Kovacic and Jorginho losing the ball a lot. Even the forward players, for example, that one, there was a counter-attack around about the 10th or 15th minute where Werner was through and Ziyech tried to play a through ball and he just gave it to the goalkeeper. Or there was another one from a West Brom corner or free kick. It was a set-piece routine and the counter from Ziyech again, given straight to the West Brom defenders. They were growing in confidence and that red card changed everything for them. They continued about their business with a lot more intensity, in fact. And we saw what we saw. Chelsea, on the other hand, they reverted to a 4-4-1 formation with a man down. So Alonso left back, Zuma, Christensen came on for Ziyech, and Azpilicueta right back. We saw Reece James play as on the right-hand side of midfield. Usual position we've been seeing him in this back three, but a bit further forward. And I think Tuchel found out today what Lampard had to find out the hard way, what Sarri had to find out the hard way, and what Conte. I don't think he ever started with a back four, but if in game, I think he found out as well, which is why Emerson was bought, is that Marcos Alonso cannot play in a back four. He is an excellent wing back. Going forward, he's very good. He makes great runs. He provides a really good aerial threat. He's got a great left foot. His crossing is pretty average, let's be honest, but he's got a great finish on him, and no one can deny him that. But as a defender in a back four on the left-hand side, he cannot do. Well, I'd rather refrain from using language. And you know what? I think West Brom realized that because as soon as Chelsea reverted to that formation, you saw Phillips run at Alonso. Let's talk about the goals they scored. The first goal from Pereira, it's a simple kick from the keeper, and it goes straight to Pereira. Zuma's just staring at the ball, and then he starts running backwards. What are you doing? There is no Thiago Silva. There is no center back. The formation's changed. You're the center back now. You realize that. Go and head the ball. I think he thinks that there's still someone going to be covering for him on the right-hand side. Well, there's not. And he runs back, and Pereira, straight from the goal kick, gets the ball and chips Mendy. It's 1-1. The most basic and simplest of goals you could ask for, you could have scored. I don't think Matias Pereira even would have dreamed of something like that. It's just ridiculous. You wouldn't expect this at the top flight, never mind a club that's, still in the Champions League. But anyways, so it's 1-1 in injury time of the first half. And kickoff again, and 2 minutes later they score again. Phillips, first of all, initially runs at Alonso, comes inside. Alonso's on toast, by the way. You could just see Alonso's on toast. Phillips had him on toast in that one run where he cut inside and then shot at the bar. Game resumes, and again, Jorginho, what are you doing? He doesn't even look back, and he tries to head the ball backwards. I think he didn't realize that there's a center forward standing right behind him. I think he was trying to find Christensen, but anyways, he heads back without even looking. Of course, West Brom take it. Very calm from Matias Pereira. He had 3 players in front of him, between him and the goal, without even counting the goalkeeper, and yet he still coolly slots that in the near post. 2-1 halftime, and it seems like, you know what? West Brom have actually got this. In the matter of 4 minutes, the game turned on its head from what seemed like Chelsea might actually still be able to, keep control of this game, as we've seen them do over the past like 12 games. They've conceded only 2 goals, and now they've conceded 2 goals only in 45 minutes. And you think, okay, well, they've already lost. And you know what? I did think they had lost. I wasn't planning on watching the second half, but the inner football fan in me jumped. I couldn't just not watch it, knowing that my team's playing. And honestly, I regret it. I shouldn't have tuned in. We started the second half very well. We started a team who's looking for 3 points. Although we should have started the first half like that when we had 11 men. So going down to 10, it doesn't help because there's always the chance of that counterattack. There were a few chances here and there, Zuma. I think Alonso hit the post. I think there was one with Werner as well. We're doing good. And then all of a sudden, again, what we saw time and time again, it was West Brom winning the ball back, which, by the way, we have not seen a lot of teams do this to Chelsea under Tuchel. And playing in a 2-man midfield, you'd expect more teams to do this against Chelsea. And I've always said that this is a place where they're very vulnerable. But anyways, we have not seen a lot of teams do this. And today we did. Win the ball and play it through the middle. A lot of teams like to go out wide, which I don't understand because we have 3 players out wide. We have the left inside forward, then we have the wing back, and then we have the left center back. Whereas in midfield, there's only 2 guys, who are Kovacic and Jorginho. And if Jorginho is playing, that's not even 2 guys, that's 1.5 guy, because as great as the guy is, he can't run, and that's a fact. We saw that a lot today. West Brom attacking down the middle, and my word, they hit us hard. Callum Robinson, 5 Premier League goals in his career, 1 for Sheffield, 4 for West Brom, all against Chelsea. But no, it was a very, very good goal. It was a very good finish. It was a cross from the right-hand side, and then he volleys it into the roof of the net. You could put 3 Mendys there. You could put 3 Mendys, 3 Kepas, and 3 Caballeros, and no one stops that. That was unreal finish. And some of the football that they played today, after that goal, I mean, they knew that they're already 2 goals up against 10 men. They're gonna see this through. I think the game was over at this point already. But some of the football they played, it felt like they're the team who are competing for top 4, who are in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and Chelsea are the team who are sitting in 19th place. Now, I think there's no point in analyzing the game after that. The game was over at this point. They scored another. Chelsea scored. They scored in the last minute or something. Again, Callum Robinson. Sorry. A lovely finish again, by the way. But now let's talk about the player performances, because I really want to get into this. Thiago Silva was actually very solid today, I think. He out of the back 3, he was the only one who was actually, in the first 30 minutes of the game, he was the one playing balls over the top to the Chelsea forwards running. And, well, they were all trying that, but he's the only one who was actually finding the targets, So he was having a good game, and that him being sent off completely changed it. Zuma, again, left-hand side of a back 3, and then left-hand side of a back 2. I don't know. See, I don't even understand why he was even playing there. We'll get into Tuchel in a bit, but I don't even understand why he was playing there. We've seen it in the past. That this guy cannot do it. Remember, United 4-0 away, Lampard's first game in charge, conceded 4, and this guy was responsible for like 3 of those. He can't do it. Christensen on the right-hand side of a back 2. Again, Christensen is a phenomenal defender in a back 3. In a back 3, playing centrally, even on either side, honestly, in a back 3, when he's got more protection around him, he is phenomenal. I rate that guy to bits. But in a back 2, he is not it. It's like they're completely different players. playing a system helps these players so much, and I've never seen a system benefit players this much as it has for these Chelsea players. Um, you can talk about Christensen, Zuma being at fault for a lot of stuff, but it wasn't just them. Again, Aspilicueta once again disappearing. You know, he is the captain of the team. He is the old guard now. You know, but again, we've seen him disappear countless times in the past. You know, when your team needs a leader, you expect him to step up, but he's just not it. And I think he is the kind of player who gives you a 7 out of 10 every game, and he gave that today as well. But in terms of being captain material, I think that's Thiago Silva in this team, and it's not Aspilicueta, and we saw that once again today. Marcus Alonso, again, had a very good 20, 25 minutes when we were playing with 11 men. He was bombing forward a lot. He had that chance where he forced a good save. You know, he plucked the ball out of the air and then held off the defender, and then on the turn and shot, forced a good save. The first goal was a great free kick from him, resulting in another good save from the keeper. Once once he was asked to play in a back four, I think that was just it. You know, he's just not the same player. I think this was a lesson that Tuchel would have learned today. He should have known this coming into this job already. I think every Premier League team or manager knows this, that he cannot operate on the left-hand side of a back four. But as soon as we went to a back four when Christensen came on, that should have been a double sub. And I think a left back, you know, Chilwell or Emerson, anyone should have come on instead of Alonso, because we all knew at that point, with the pace of Pereira and Phillips, West Brom were going to do some damage to Marcus Alonso. And we saw that, because at halftime at 2-1, as great as that charge back was for Chelsea from the opening 10 minutes of the second half, the game was over. The game was over. And yeah, again, Kovacic and Jorginho, absolute disaster class. Absolute disaster class. I cannot get over that Jorginho performance. I love the guy to bits, but he is not it. The amount of times we've seen him get the ball and just give it away. Over the years, he's had one role. He gets the ball and keeps the ball moving. Chelsea were a team who were very, you know, counter-attack based, defensive, and when Sarri came in and bought these guys, you know, Kovacic, Jorginho, whatever, we saw the team's dynamic change, going from a counter-attacking team to a possession-based team, 70-75%, and he's responsible for that, you know, and he's done an excellent job. But once again today, there are certain times when you don't need to be fancy, when you don't need to be clever, when you just need to put in a shift and you need to do the basics. Today he was playing balls over the top. You know, he's been injured over the international break that just came. But he's been training with the team, so you'd expect him to be fully firing for this game. But he was playing balls over the top, as I talked about the back three, and they were going out for goal kicks or throw-ins or straight into the hands of the keeper, John Stone, I think his name was. What are you doing, Jorginho? This is literally your one job. I remember when he came in 18-19, and there was a lot of talk about, you know, whether he should be playing with Fabregas. Fabregas does not make mistakes like those. Fabregas does not. He was a player not similar to Jorginho. I think they both have different roles. But Jorginho is a player who is expected to make those kind of through balls, you know, allowing the forwards, the wingers to, you know, break, just run at the channels. And he hasn't done that. And today was a prime example. I think if Kante was fit for the Porto game, Jorginho doesn't start that based on the performance today. Personally, I'm hoping he doesn't start that. Either way, I'd play 18-year-old Billy Gilmore instead of him, because, again, it was absolutely useless today. He was absolutely terrible. This might have been the worst central midfield performance I've seen since 2015-16, in that Mourinho sacking season where we were 16th at one point. The Bakayoko Watford performance has given me nightmares, and still does to this day. And let me tell you, this Jorginho performance has just overtaken that. I don't understand how players of such high quality can all of a sudden just capitulate like that. Another point that I really would want to talk about is Timo Werner. I think he's been a great signing. I don't think he's been a flop at all. He's missed a lot of chances that you would expect any half decent striker to score. And again, in the international break, this became a very important topic of debate when he had that miss against Macedonia. Um, Again, under Tuchel, Chelsea played better with Werner, and he brings more to the team than just goals. And I think he's an excellent player, and I don't think he's been a flop at all, especially under Tuchel. He might have been under Lampard, but not now. But he is so low on confidence. He was running through on goal. It was a sprint race between a 36-year-old Branislav Ivanovic and Timo Werner, and Werner lost that. And that's not down to pace. That's not down to pace or ability. That's just down to confidence. Werner was scared that he wasn't going to be able to do something, so he was backing into Ivanovic, hoping that I'd win a free kick or a penalty once it got inside the box. It was really sad to see. Even the second goal for Mason Mount, no striker passes that. No striker passes, takes a touch and passes that. Everyone goes for the shot. Everyone goes for the kill. But you could just see how low he is on confidence. Okay, he did the right thing. He got the pass. We got the goal. It was great. But again, very, very low on confidence, and he needs a goal very soon, because if he doesn't, he will be a flop, I think. Hakim Ziyech, again, he wasn't that great whilst he was on the pitch. He had one good cross in that entire time, but again, unfortunate for him to be subbed off because of that. Thiago Silva red card, it had to be done. Now, where does this club go from here? Chelsea have, since I started supporting them when I was a kid, they've always been a team of great characters. And for a period of while, you know what, they might have arguably been the best team in the world in terms of quality too. That 2006 to 2008, 9, 10 period, But even if when they haven't had the quality like the years following that or the years prior to that, what they've always had is strong characters. And for example, the 2012 Champions League one, that was not one on football, that was one on characters. Because this is something that this team has always had. And I think since 2015, we have lost that. The loss of Frank Lampard initially, and then Petr Cech, and the likes of, Ashley Cole, Didier Drogba moving on, really, really hurt this team badly, because there weren't significant leaders, I think, in the dressing room to carry this team on their shoulders. The likes of Azpilicueta and David Luiz were, considered senior players at this point. They were given the charge, and you know what? David Luiz is a good figure, I think. He has his days. He makes mistakes. We all know that, but he's a good senior figure. Azpilicueta is more of a player that leads by example, but you need players who are vocal, and he's just not it. The likes of Conte bringing in Zappacosta, Emerson, Bakayoko does not help Morata. Sorry, bringing in Higuain for a while, these signings did not help at all. Papi Djilobodji coming in 2016. But in any case, where this team is now is the fact that there's not enough characters. Quality-wise, they're good. They're very good. Havertz, Werner, players like Ziyech. This team has got the quality. It does not have the characters. And right now, more than ever, you can see the effect of a team without characters in it, with that mentality. When this team goes a goal down, or not even a goal down, a man down today, whenever there's like a minor, problem, like a slight inconvenience, this team just bombs. And the best way, I think, to overcome this is by getting a player or multiple players. I'm saying a player because I had Liverpool in mind with Van Dijk, but maybe a couple players of strong mentality. Maybe not, the highest quality players, but they're definitely the best mentality because this team has the quality. And if we can get the mentality right of this team, it can do wonders. We saw Mourinho, we saw Conte, we saw Sarri, we saw Lampard, and I'm sure sooner rather than later we'll be seeing Tuchel complain about the same thing. It's the mentality of these players. Sarri complained he didn't know how to motivate these players, and he got slated by the media for it, saying like, "How can you say that? That's your job." Okay, that's true, but he's not the only one to say it. And five different managers with five different approaches, with five different sets of plays and styles and whatever, if they're complaining about the same thing about the same bunch of players, maybe at some point, you need to think it's not the manager, it's the players. There is no need of a major overhaul. Just a few additions, I think, would do the trick. And today, the blame goes on no one, I think, more than Tuchel, because he got it massively wrong. I'm not going to have a dig at him because every manager's found this out the hard way. I think it's his turn now. And I do think there will be a series of results now that aren't going to go in our favor. I think you asked me 2 days ago, not 2 days ago, 2 hours ago, whether Chelsea will qualify against Porto for the Champions League. I would have said yes. Now I don't think so, simply because of the fact that once a team gets found out, which happened with Chelsea today, they go on a bad run of results. We saw that with Liverpool in January, 6 home losses. We've seen that with the likes of Leicester and Arsenal, whatever, earlier in the season. We've seen that with Wolves. They haven't been able to pick up, and it's even United, I think, for a while, and now we're seeing it with Chelsea. So yeah. However, Tuchel does get a lot of the blame, not for his selections, but simply for his awareness. I don't know how to phrase this, honestly. This game's broken me. This game's actually broken me. I don't know how to phrase it, but I would suggest like something along the lines of, this is something that he should have known coming into this team, knowing these players, watching them over the last 4 or 5 years, that this has been a problem, because this group of players on their day are excellent. We saw them, given two absolute masterclasses against the likes of Atletico Madrid. We've seen Chelsea do very well against, some other big teams, but today it was disgraceful. For the next game, it's on Wednesday, Porto away, Champions League, which is happening in Sevilla Stadium, actually, because of the travel restrictions from the UK or something. I'm not sure. We saw today Giroud not even get a chance, and now there's links about him discussing a contract with Roma at the end of the season, moving there for a free. I think he needs to start. I think he needs to start today, especially against a team that's physical as West Brom. You'd expect Olivier Giroud to start, and I do blame Tuchel for that, because that guy has been in great form and he's done absolutely nothing wrong to lose a starting place. I know he has his moments, but as of right now, he hadn't done anything, and yet we see him constantly being dropped. And I don't understand why. Werner is a player who we've seen plays better as a left-hand side forward rather than the number 9 itself. And today he was playing in that position and it wasn't that great. So Havertz, again, false 9. We've seen him false 9 do wonders. He works with Werner, but then again, I think he played in the international break. He played the last game for Germany, unlike Werner, who came off the bench. So that's why he didn't want to start with Havertz. I get that. But if not Havertz, then you should start Giroud, because that's how you get the best out of Werner. And I think that's my only concern with Tuchel today. However, if this series of results continues, this 5-2 just carries on into the mentality of the next game against Porto, and then after that against Palace, and then Porto again, and then City after that, then we're going to have some serious problems. I think I'm going to end this here. I tried to remain as calm as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think the first one we've ever done where there's only been one member of the two halves team present. I hope you enjoyed it. And I guess I'll catch you in the next half. Bye bye.